Oh my gosh, lunatics, welcome back to our astrology for the week ahead, the 24th of November through all the way until about, I guess, the 30th. And what we've got going on is important. Mars can only bend the south node of fate in the way he's doing every 18 years or so. And it doesn't always work out that way. I'm going to give you the dates he bent the south node as it travels through Virgo and ask you, what are you getting ready to let go of? There's some epic release, surrender in your life, in my life, in the collective regarding matters to do with the Virgo part of the sky. That's where the south node is being bent and Mars moving into a critical square to the south node from the sign of Sagittarius. This is going to be playing out as we start the week right away. You're going to be feeling like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, through to the end of the week. But on top of that, Venus is connecting with Uranus. And when Venus and Uranus do what they're going to do, which is be opposed to each other, after Venus hooks up with Mercury in a conjunction, is shocking, surprising news stories. And where is this happening? Mercury is moving through the sky with Venus in the sign of Scorpio. Uranus is in Taurus the other way on the other side. Think disclosures, secrets, revelations, whistleblowing storylines. I already talked in last week's video and on my Substack about Candace Owens coming up with some big, shocking disclosure based on the fact that her Mercury is sitting exactly at the end of Scorpio, exactly where that new moon was activated with Uranus shock and awe across the way on the 19th of November. And as I said a couple days before and up to a week later, we could see a massive shock surprise news story coming out of Candace Owens' announcer planet, Mercury in Taurus, right across from the disclosure-oriented new moon, her Mercury on Uranus. So I don't know if you're tracking the story. I'm recording on November 22nd, and Candace Owens has had a super viral, I think it's like 8 million views by the time I'm recording, Twitter drop about the fact that she believes she has evidence that she has been targeted for a decapitation by a particular country in the world. I'm not going to say those words here. That will get me demonetized. But on my vacation, I will tell you it is a big story. And she's still not out of the news cycle yet. Because when Venus crosses at the very end of the sign of Scorpio, as we approach Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week ahead, and it opposes Uranus across the way, we're going to see more coming through on her through the news cycle that continues to create a big ripple. So what a week we have. It is intense, it is game-changing, and it is somewhat rare. In order for this beautiful energy to happen, which is a water trine, we need Jupiter in exalted justice, Jupiter in Cancer, moral sheriff of the universe. We need him in place. We need Saturn, the lord of time and karma, in place in Pisces. We need the North Node and South Node axis in Pisces, Virgo. We have a constellation of rare events in our collective sky. And with Pluto out of bounds, we, the people, rise up and turn power structures over, including the elite, including the 1%, including those who control the average everyday human being on planet Earth. We're going to see massive disruption of the status quo in the next decade because of Pluto's rare out of bounds south declination story. And that's all entwined already in what we're seeing today. So funny, I was on the NASA thread when NASA was talking about the 3-eye atlas. And if you were tracking the comments that day they did the live stream, there was so much suspicion. Nobody believed what NASA was saying. And then there were these people who were adept in body language during the live stream commenting on the aversive ways that the scientists in the panel were body languaging discomfort, or maybe what's the other word? Not lying. Well, maybe lying or making stuff up. So who knows? But I would say this: nobody believes the people who tell you what to believe anymore. Whether it's your government, whether it's NASA, whatever. Like, there is a mass suspicion, right? You know, there's this phrase in writing fiction and in filmography, and it's called willing suspension of disbelief. You want your audience or the people who read your fiction to turn off their mind and go into the fantastical and imaginal and believe everything to be true, even though it's fictional. So this willing suspension of disbelief is what's needed for all of us to actually function as a society. We can willingly suspend our disbelief about what happened to JFK, for example, to a certain point, because it's easier to do that, to participate in this collective Maya illusion, Leela, play of God. But now what's going on is the vast majority of people are losing their ability to engage in their willing suspension of disbelief, and they're now questioning the narrative. And this is what the whole world will see over the next 10 years, is a fall from power of those who had the power all along, but they were hiding it from the everyday world. Now, what we're going to do, my name is Lori Lothy, and welcome to my channel. We're going to go through the week ahead. I'm going to show you the sky. I'm going to drop a few comments about world astrology. You want weekly deep dive astrology? Please come to my Substack, the Pluto Chronicles, where I can speak freely, not worry about monetization and all of that, or shadow banning here. So come over, see me for free on my weekly written content over at Substack at the Pluto Chronicles. If you haven't caught up yet to my 2026 all sign videos, I've got literally 2 to 2.5 hours per sign, plus a PDF guidebook, videos that are hidden, and you can get them on my unlisted part of my YouTube, downloadable audio and video as well. It's a transcript if you want it, for some of them anyway. And the point is that is my yearly fundraiser. It's only $44 for more than 24 hours of video content. And you can listen for sun, moon, and rising. It can be a great digital stocking stuffer for your friends at Christmas by sending them the PDF itself. You're going to get a PDF that has the hidden links, that has all the information you need. You cannot buy your individual sign until December, when I put that up for $33 per sign. Why not get 12 signs for $44? If that doesn't sound like a deal, I don't know what is. I always make it affordable. It's a fundraiser for me, and it's something I want all of you to be able to use in 2026 to time your best life. Authentically wish you to use that content, so you're moving with the sky in anticipation of what's going to happen, and also being able to work with what's happening, because forewarned is forearmed, right? So let's get going, and let's get talking literally about this sky. I'm in Mexico right now, so I'm recording on vacation for you. Hopefully the sound is okay and everything else. I'm going to pull the sky up so all of you who love this stuff can see it. I want to talk about Mars at the south bending of the node of fate in the sign of Virgo. And I want to tell you how rare this actually is. Because we need to have the south node in the sign of Virgo, which is every 18.5 years, and Mars moves on a 2-year cycle, the kinds of times we've seen Mars squaring the south node in Virgo, bending the south node, it's called, from the way we're talking in ancient tradition of astrology, would go back to like October of 1950, October 31st, actually, September 6th of 1969, February 14th of 1988, January 2nd of 2007, and November 24th of 2025. Now, it doesn't have to be the exact day. You could say things building up, in a few days before and up to a week after, or a week before and after these epicenter events. I do know that in September of 1969, the prosecution of the Malay massacre was happening. The Ho Chi Minh, what do you call it? The head honcho, the president or prime minister of North Vietnam, I think, died. I don't know if he was assassinated. Let me take a look. So we're going to see some similar. I'm just going back to that time because we have a lot of Chiron Aries energy that takes us back to 68, 69 as well, making it like the wounds of war more prevalent. So Richard Nixon was campaigning in September of 69 on a promise to withdraw troops from Vietnam. The United States was launching a major drug operation into Mexico, or on the border of Mexico. And Ho Chi Minh, the president of North Vietnam, died in September of 1969 on the 2nd, literally 3 days before the actual perfect bending of the North Node. South Node, in Virgo, connected to Mars, the god of war and death. I don't know what he died of, likely with Mars and Sagittarius, some kind of military event rather than natural causes. The Malay massacre charges were underway formally. U.S. Army Lieutenant William Calley was formally accused on September 5th of 69 of 6 counts of premeditated murder in his role in the massacre. So we're seeing like some kind of Mars through the sign of Sag, which is a war sign, by the way, because of the Antares star there, and Virgo, South Node energy playing out there as well. Now, I will remind you that Sagittarius is the sign of the United States of America's rising sign, right? It's the rising sign of America. And so you're going to see a lot of American stories come through the sky when Mars bends the South Node. That's going to be an obvious story. It's hard to ignore. Mars bending the South Node will activate the US in any matter. And so we have to remember that when Mars is at 14 degrees of Sag this time around, November 24th, the identity of America at 12 Sag, the rising sign of America in the Sibley chart, is squaring the South Node at 14 degrees of Virgo. So in the United States, Virgo represents the actual administrative, like head honcho, executive branch kind of thing, right? It is the 10th house of the United States of America's chart. And in that regard, it represents like Trump or the White House or the executive branch or the people who lead the country, the house of the king. And so in this regard, it's not good for Donald Trump. It's not good for his administration. It's not good for the stability of the American government that's currently in place. And I do know that I'm a Canadian, guys, that I heard that there's going to be a midterm sweep for the Democrats based on early polling next year for next year's midterms. And that doesn't surprise me, but like it's Tweedledee and Tweedledum from my perspective, you know, bought and paid for courtesy of a nation offshore, the entire Dem and Republican Congress. So what hell does it matter does it make anymore? Now, you know, January 2nd of 2007, we had the same energy. So you go December into January of 2006 and 7, what was happening in the world, what was happening in the United States in particular, or February 14th of 1988. So the month of February of 88. So I don't have time to do all this research today. October 31st of 1950, it was probably, what was that war, guys? There was a war, I think, and so I don't remember the name of it. Oh, my brain is offline. So we'll see what happens in the collective sphere. Now I'm going to show you the chart, and I just want to find a comfortable place to sit. I am literally on the most uncomfortable chair I've ever sat on in this little lovely little Airbnb rental, but I just cannot do this. I might just have to stand because it's like sitting on a rock. I wonder if there's a pillow that would work. So I'm doing my best to give you the content while I'm on my vacation. Take a look at the sky with me, will you? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss a thing. And look underneath my videos in the more button, click ... How to reach me, how to join my Patreon, Substack, how to have a reading with me, which are now reserved for Patreon members only. How to do anything with me. It's all in my description box below. Take my free courses that I give you 3 free options down below and all of that stuff. I'm going to grab a pillow of some sort before I have a nervous breakdown here. Hang on. Pillow or something more comfortable. Let's try a pillow. Oh my God. Let's try a pillow. A little bit better. Okay, so let's get started. You can see the sky. I've got it set for November 30th. Why? Because that's when Venus will be opposite Uranus with Mercury here. Candace Owens has her Mercury over here around 28, 29 degrees of Scorpio. She has a Sun and Venus in Scorpio in Taurus. So we'll see a lot more Candace Owens energy going on here this week ahead, with a premium on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with more shocking disclosures or information coming from her or about her for sure. And then the other thing I'd say is, because she has a small, she has a huge #1 podcast in the world following, but she has a type of follower, which are people who are suspicious of mainstream narratives. And at this point, I think with this latest disclosure on Twitter, she's blossoming like an oil spill into the world of people who don't think that way. So there's a huge impact this last tweet she made on November 22nd is having in Twitter or X world. So we'll see where that ends up going. So I alerted you in a couple of videos behind us already. Joe Biden, Scorpio Sun, King Charles, Scorpio Sun, Vladimir Putin, Scorpio rising. All these Scorpio people are getting into the story, and we might see some major shocking information and disclosures with this energy showing up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let's back ourselves up a bit and watch this other story playing out. Here we have Venus conjunct Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. It's not particularly rare, but it can be a major bit of information or news disclosed or revealed about a female or connected to stealth, 3-letter agencies, hidden agendas. That's scorpionic, right? It also could be about a female who's forensic or scientific versus the medical examiner for Charlie Kirk is a woman. Maybe there'll be disclosures about who she really is. She's in the military, apparently. But what really happened? Did that bullet, did his Popeye bones, as Candace would say, stop a massively, 3,000-pound trajectory bullet hitting him at that speed and managed to fragment it? I don't think so. The bullet has to turn and go down. Anyone with common sense, including military experts like rifle experts and ammunition experts, saying that's not possible. So there could be disclosures about the medical examiner who declared this is what happened, or things like that. I would say female disclosures from females or about females coming through our sky in the week ahead, particularly with an emphasis around Monday and Tuesday. Now, Candace Owen drops something every, Monday to Friday, right? So Monday, Tuesday, there'll be new drops. So if it's more Candace Owens with her Mercury on Uranus, I wouldn't be surprised. Algol, the star of decapitation, is on her Mercury. She could be decapitated for her information or speech, whether it's a literal decapitation, which is to lose one's head through the mechanism of being unalived, or rather it is a metaphorical decapitation, like she's pulled off of, as I said, she could be deplatformed. Could Twitter deplatform her? Yes. I already said deplatforming was a risk for her in other videos and on twice in my Substack columns about the November World Astrology Ahead. Dropped on November 1st. I targeted Candace as a big story, and she's continuing to show up as that. Jeffrey Epstein has his midheaven in Scorpio. I targeted him in my articles and on this channel. He's dead, doesn't matter. His midheaven works as if he's alive. All of our charts live on without us. And we've been seeing more and more disclosures and drops. And now the Congress vote to release more files, 30,000 emails or something. We all know they're going to be highly redacted and it won't lead to anything. It'll be the big nothing burger. But nonetheless, he's streaming in the sky as a story with his midheaven in Scorpio close to where Mercury and Venus are sitting. Maybe this week could provide somebody whistleblowing from the inner circles of the Epstein story, whether it's Epstein's inner circles or the government's inner circles around it. We could see a female whistleblower on the Epstein case in the next 7 days. For those of you who like world astrology, there you go. We're going to be doing your sign. Here's the South Node. Here's Mars. Mars is bending the South Node. Okay, that's how it works. If Mars was down here in Gemini, he'd be bending the North Node. There's a great article on nodal benders by Alice Sparkly Cat. Google Alice Sparkly Cat, K-A-T, nodal benders. Go read it. You'll love it. I think she wrote an amazing article. Maybe I can remember to append it to the description box as well. Wherever you bend the South Node, there's something that needs to be released or let go of. Collectively and individually, the world wants to let go of some Virgoian story connected to some Sagittarian story. Sag is a war sign. It has kinetic devices that fly through the air and cause harm. You know what I mean, right? I don't care if it's a drone or an MISS. It's going to be that kind of energy and a release, surrender, let go. But sometimes the South Node brings us the surrender and release through the things that are very difficult in life. So we let go because we're forced to let go. Our tenuous hold on reality is getting let go of because we can't face what's really happening. And now we have to face it. And now we have to let go, release. So I'm not saying for each of us, it's going to be a bad thing. Like, oh no, this is so horrible. But for the world, South Node in the 10th house of the United States, for example, or South Node traveling over Benjamin Netanyahu's 10th house, which I'd be so happy if he was like deposed from office for sure. But there's stuff hitting the Israeli leadership as well from this Mars bending. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Iran doesn't manage to have already put a hit on him. And there may also be the actual activation of that. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sitting with it. Give me a minute, please. I'm just sitting with it. Netanyahu is a late degree Libra, sun and moon. Almost the same as Charlie Kirk, actually. So he's offside of the nodal bendings on his identity, but not on his midheaven, which is his public reputation and his high noon energy. So, we shall see what goes on there. Netanyahu has had eclipses now, 2 Virgo eclipses, South Node loss over his midheaven, spring of 25, fall of 25. And that continually pummels him in a way that suggests he will not be able to hold on to power at the very least, if not his physical wellness. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and do your sign. I only make these videos about an hour to hour and 10 minutes long when I'm traveling, especially. I want to have the last day of my vacation, perhaps in the sun. And so let's get some stories down for each of your signs. And what we're going to do is I'm going to talk most specifically about 2 things for you this week. What you're letting go of epically, you haven't been able to let go of in the same way since basically January of 2007, or maybe you go back in time, February of 1988. Release, surrender, let go. What is it that you want to do that with? And Mars represents decisions and actions. I will touch shortly, briefly, lightly on a shocking surprise that Venus may bring for a day or two around Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to your Scorpio and your Taurus axis. We don't have a card draw today because I'm traveling. I didn't bring any decks with me as I'm carry on. So you're just dealing with the astrology, but I would do Oracle deck card draws as well for a lot of my videos. If you guys could like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. And I bring your attention to yesterday, Sunday, because I dropped my 12 videos. Happy Thanksgiving, Americans. My 12 December forecast videos for each sign. They're almost a half hour, on average 25 minutes to 30 minutes long. Please go give them some love. I know every year when I drop that content on Thanksgiving weekend, sometimes it does really poorly because people are having a good time. So, but it is a major driver of my channel's algorithm. So please hit some like buttons over there, comment, and give it some attention for me. I'd so appreciate if you could do that. Now, let's get going and talk about the sky. Aries, 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 sun, moon, and rising sign. Can't go back. You got to go back to January of 2007 or February 1988 to compare notes here. But you Aries are going to let go, release, and surrender something in your 6th house. It can be a bad habit, an addiction, a self-undoing because of this axis. It could be letting go of a job or an aspect of your job, releasing a rental property agreement, or even releasing something to do with an animal in your life, a pet. That's where the South Node has been traveling now since 2025, January till next July. But Mars bends the South Node and says, okay, we need to make some decisions this week and take some actions. We're going to notice that feeling in the first 3 or 4 days of the week. And you're going to ask yourself, what choices and decisions am I trying to make to do with 9th house matters relative to 6th house? 9th house, what's a 9th house story? It can be publishing, podcasting. It can be book publishing in particular. It can be things about academics, teaching and learning at a high level, especially like ivory tower and, campus settings. It can be decisions you're trying to make around, well, it could be about a writing project as well, but it's about things that you would post, publish, or podcast in the world. Making some decisions perhaps around your purpose and meaning in life, the dharma, why am I here? In order to align with your deeper purpose, in order to move into a felt sense of being on track in life, you might have to release or surrender an aspect of your livelihood or the work that you're currently doing. Now, I'm not saying you're going to quit your job, right? But you may say, okay, I do this much and this much and this much in my work. I'm going to let go of one aspect of it. Even if you're employed, you can always do that, right? You can pare down the actual features of the job itself to give you more space. Some of you might be making some major travel decisions to do with far off places and lands, and that's no big deal. But if you do, it's connected to better health, well-being, wellness, or connecting to matters to do with your work environment. For example, I have an Aries sun and moon, and I'm thinking of renting the place I'm currently in for 1 month in April. So that would be an example, if I can get it, of me making that decision early in the week. And why would I do that? Because I feel healthier here. I can work out and swim here. I can take long cobblestone walks here. I can feel more relaxed here in Mexico. And they have blisteringly, decently good internet in this unit. So that's an example. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's choosing something from a place of it's making choices, Aries, that bring expansion, growth, and opportunity your way rather than contraction and constriction, right? Mars is trining your Aries sun, moon, or rising. Aries sun, moon, and rising, the closest you are to 14 degrees, the better it is. My sun's at 14 degrees. So the closer your sun, moon, or rising to 14 degrees, the better this Mars turning point decision-making is. Nice little surprise coming at the end of the week, Friday through Sunday. Could be a chunk of money. Uranus is going to bring a potential on a wealth star called Algol, some surprising financial developments. It should be positive, but I can't guarantee anything. The positive nature of it that I'm hoping for all of us is the Jupiter piece. Jupiter blesses this particular surprise in a way that we can't even know until we see what happens. You could come into some money, an investment can take off, an increase of your earnings in some unexpected, surprising way. I do not know what it is. If you work in the online world and you can have a viral hit, something wants to take off for you financially. And it may be just a little bit of a, Friday, Saturday, Sunday perk, no big deal. Not going to overwhelm your whole life, but you should look for some Jupiter blessed positive financial surprises coming through the last part of the week into Sunday. And give me a minute. I think we've pinned ourselves to Aries again. I do this sometimes. I don't mean to. Let's unpin ourselves. Am I recording? Yes. Edit the chart. We're going to get off of 0 Aries and move ourselves back to whole sign houses. Yep. Here we are. And no, we don't want Capricorn. Sorry, Cappies. All right, Taurus. Certainly with Uranus in your sign since 2018, big shakeups have happened in your life, right? But more importantly, and shocks as well. But more importantly, here Uranus he's at 29 degrees this week ahead. And I want to jump straight to the end of the week for you and then get to the Mars, let go, release, and surrender. Because when you see this energy playing out, it's pretty intense, where Venus and Mercury co-join and oppose Uranus early in the week that leads to a big surprise by the end of the week connected to self and other. Now, on a positive note with Lord Jupiter, it could be an unexpected travel opportunity with a significant other, unexpected wedding proposal from a significant other, unexpected new legal agreements or financial agreements connected to online world, publishing, writing, communicating. I mean, it's your 7th house of what you agree to with another person in love, in business, or with your fans and your fans if you have them. There's a bit of a commercial success energy with Mercury, Venus, trining Jupiter. So it can be like you managed to, sell something, or you managed to negotiate a sale or something along those lines in a very unexpected, surprising, positive way. When Monday through to, let's say, Thursday, that this part, and then Friday to Sunday, oh my God, here comes the surprise. Again, I don't know that you're making the surprise happen. You're being surprised by another person or a legal situation, and it should be positive. Okay. Now, let's go to what you are releasing, what you are letting go of, what you are ready to surrender in your life, because it is just simply time. And you did that surrender in February of 88 and January of 2007, for example, though most people won't remember, some of you will. Self-note is to do with your fertility, your romantic life, your children. It has to do with things to do with your artistic, creative projects, as well as entrepreneurial business endeavors. So something wants to be released or surrendered. So I know a Taurus is trying to sell his business, for example, right? He might have a success in selling his entrepreneurial brick and mortar business, for example, as the sky unfolds in the week ahead. You could be letting go of some situation romantically. If you've had a romance, if you're single, we're not talking about committed marriage. We're talking about like a romantic dating situation and maybe getting ready to let it go. But Mars is also cutting through the house of secrets. So if a relationship is going to end because, the dating thing isn't working for you, maybe somebody reveals something, and that whatever was hidden from your view, Mars slicing through the house of secrets, the 8th house, is just enough to tell you, yeah, this isn't going to work, or I don't want to continue. I'm going to let this relationship go. Mars is also in the house of banks, loans, mortgages, financing, investments. I see a bit of a money story here then as well. It would be true of letting go of some financial situation that might have been connected to a child. Maybe you're funding them for some reason as an adult child. Could be some choosing to change direction and tact in a new way, to release and surrender something to do with karmic patterns. The deepest karma belongs to the 8th house, and the lord of your deepest karma is Jupiter. So Jupiter does flow to the nodes of fate right now, which is great. But you might be releasing some real karmic debts or karmic patterns of some sort in a very sort of spiritual manner without even understanding what you're doing, right? It might not be made conscious to you. Finally, Mars in the 8th house, it can look like maybe with the sun here as well, during the entirety of the time, some unexpected legacy wealth coming your way, and the surrender, release, and let go of something to do with, there's so many ways that you'll play out: a sibling too younger, a father figure, but a releasing of not just karma, but you might be coming into some financial success through some kind of family money coming towards you. Again, elder sibling or father figure money, and it may be headed your way. Now, Mars has to decide things, but when he's in the 8th house, you're doing all of the deciding in a very impulsive or unconscious layer of your being, sort of, coming from either the wounded psyche or more spiritually, the disidentified self who's let go of the egoic consciousness. So there's that. I would not start a new relationship under this week's sky, not with Mars in the house of secrets, bending this note of loss in the house of romance. Yeah, no, I'd stay clear of that. And that's what I've got for you. This is just a real quick Monday update. So hang in there with me, guys, as I try to get back to the pool today. All right. If you're a Gemini, this week ahead, rare bending of the node, south node, last seen in January of 2007 and February of 1988, where Mars is going to bend the south node and ask you sort of like Monday through Wednesday, Monday through Thursday, even, to let go, release, and surrender some situation connected to the following themes: your private life, your home life, your complicated childhood wounds and mother stories, letting go, surrendering, and releasing something connected to decisions you make connected to significant long-term love partnerships that also could de-home you or have you break a contractual agreement regarding property, land, and real estate. Some of you Geminis may find yourself in a situation where a significant person in your life, like a marriage type partner, a long-term relationship person, is going to be very combative towards you in the first 3 or 4 days of the week. And this could lead to some major loss in your private life or home life, as in you realize you're going to have to separate out the assets or release yourself from shared resources with that person. You might also notice that because Mars is moving through your 7th house, that's your audience, your marketplace, and your public. For example, Donald Trump is a Gemini sun. So for him, there's this like severing, cutting, and ending in the house of the public with the south node going through his career space, which I mentioned in the intro, from his solar perspective. Going through his, 4th house. He lives in the White House, right? He might just surrender the White House all at once. No, of course not. But this week begins some kind of unraveling. So where are you unraveling from your home? Did you unravel from your home in any significant way in January of 2007? Did you unravel from your home in February of 1988? These are ways to go back in time and compare notes. All right. Watch for lawsuits here. If you're in a kind of endeavor professionally where someone might want to try to lob a suit at you, be careful. That can be very Mars in the 7th house as well. And otherwise, I think that mostly it's relational and home-based releasing. At the end of the week, though, as we get the Venus coming through Friday through Sunday, opposite Taurus, Uranus along this axis, look for something that shocks or surprises you regarding a rental property, opportunity, regarding a pet opportunity or change or something. Jupiter's blessing it around a financial opportunity connected to work and foreign lands, foreign shores, and distant places, including digital income and borderless revenue. This kind of energy here could look like Jupiter says, here's a lot more money because, and especially good for you if you work in places where the company you work for is foreign to your own country, or you make money without regard for borders, like most people can do in a digital universe. So then there could be a really good financial surge. But because Jupiter's retrograde, it's also connected to things you've already put in place, pegs you've already put in place. Possibly a new surge of understanding regarding dietary habits and patterns, and a releasing of any addictive patterns you have as well, for things that you ingest through your teeth, your nose, and your mouth. That's what I got. We're moving on. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. First things first, looks to me like you've got to start this week with releasing and letting go. South Node in the third house. It could be letting go of a neighborhood, a neighbor situation, a neighbor relationship, letting go of a travel plan, a shorter distances, letting go of a writing project, letting go of a social media website project, letting go of a relationship to a younger sibling in some way, the one younger than you in specific. Release and surrender, something to do with that. And at the very same time, you see Mars is bending that South Node, and he's got it going, the bending, to do with the house of sickness. Now, I'm going to say one thing. Sometimes the sky isn't all about us. You might be called in to help a sibling, one younger than you, who's going through a health crisis, for example. Monday through Friday. Another way of looking at it is, did that ever happen to you back in the day? January of 2007, February 1988, okay, December of 2006, January 2007, February 1988. Look back in time and compare notes. Another way of seeing this, perhaps, is that there's going to be a change in your job as you release and surrender any kind of situation connected to work, livelihood, and service connected to third house matters. Third house is usually the online social media sphere, but you could have a job that requires travel or commuting, and maybe you don't want that anymore and you want to let that go as well. But you could also be letting go of a pet. I don't want to worry you, okay? Take a few deep breaths. But there also could be the surrender release of a pet. Maybe a pet's getting old. As we move through the week ahead and we get into the, sort of Friday through to Sunday or Thursday through to Sunday, we begin to see that energy building with Venus and Mercury. And first of all, they do touch point on November 21st, Monday, but it's such a fleeting bit of information. I covered some of the ideas of that in the intro. More importantly, as Venus gets to, hook up with Uranus, really feeling the energy Friday through to Sunday, even into early Monday, you might find there's an unexpected surprise coming through your world to do with a child, a romantic life story, a romantic partner, a romance, maybe a windfall. If you're going to have a windfall, because 511 can bring unexpected financial booty and bounty, I would say you're going to get a windfall somehow connected to a sibling, one older, two younger, maybe money coming through from just good fortune, a lottery ticket win, unexpected bonus points on the financial game board, perhaps connected to your children. Their children could be doing well or unexpectedly well financially. Some blessings for your children. If anybody has children of childbearing age, then the surprise might be that one of your children is declaring to you that they are pregnant, or that they and their partner are pregnant, right? So you know what I mean, right? That would be a surprise, but it wouldn't necessarily be unwelcome. Yes, Venus is in detriment in Scorpio, but she owns Uranus and tells them, let's bring a positive surprise, trining the North Node in the house of grandchildren, all said and done. Destined, fated, maybe unexpected, shocking arrival of a grandchild or news of a grandchild, in the oven, so to speak. For some of you Cancers, through to the end of this week. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I kind of want you to think about the idea here that you have You have an energy of Mars in a very positive spot. You know, you don't mind Mars in the fifth house because he trines your sun, moon, and rising. So sun, moon, and rising Leo, anywhere near 14 degrees. That's where this is happening. Mars will be at 14 degrees, bending the node. So like the Aries, you like this energy, right? You feel good about it. You're rolling with it. But he does bend the south node in the house of money, resources, earnings, dietary styles for what you ingest through your nose and mouth. You want to let go of something here. You might be getting ready to release some kind of situation financially in your life in particular, especially if any money situation that's getting ready to be released may be connected to children, may be connected to a sibling too younger, may be connected to entrepreneurial side hustle income, and you might be getting ready to surrender or release something here. And Mars bended the node in your second house of earnings, resources, and money. He did this before. So January of 2007 / December 2006, January 2007, late December. If you go back that far, you might see something shifted. I don't know if you can remember that far back, but you might be able to. Or, back in February of 1988, can you go back and remember letting go, releasing, and surrendering something? To do with money, basically, earnings, resources. Could even be letting go of a job. Now, if you have a creative project you've been working on or entrepreneurial business and it's just not working for you as a way to thrive in life, you just might say, okay, I'm just going to close it up. I'm going to release it. I'm going to let it go. That's how I would see that. Venus is going to oppose Uranus Friday through Sunday. Uranus is at the very end of Taurus. There can be, after Venus consorts with Mercury in the first 2 or 3 days of the week, as she approaches Friday to Sunday, she could be getting ready to deliver some surprising money or love stories. Because she's in the fourth house, there could be surprising unfoldments in your home life connected to information dispensed with somebody with whom you live. There may also be unexpected developments regarding literally property, land, home, and real estate matters, including an opportunity to purchase a home or to sell a home. And it's going to come really quickly and swiftly and surprisingly. Uranus in your 10th house can also make a shift with Venus's help of your work, so that your work is going to change dramatically, especially if you work in and from your home. If you're looking for an inheritance out of this, yes. Likely, if you're going to get money unexpectedly, I would lean towards a father figure in your life, passing legacy wealth in a shocking way. Doesn't mean they die, right? You're like, hey, honey, I'm not going to live forever. I'm going to give you like $500,000. I can't spend it. Let's put a trust fund in place. I don't know, but you could come from male father figures, father figures, people, even if your hubby to you is a daddy-o, if you're a woman, unexpected money coming from those people as well. All right. So, and the sun is your ruler with Mars in the fifth house. It gives you a lot of vitality and creativity and a chutzpah for your entrepreneurial and creative stuff. But you have to let go of something in the second house. And sometimes our second house releasings are really our own, how we do not value our worth in life. And we need to release the holdups to that. How much are you worth? What's your self-worth like, right? What is your feeling of worthiness like? And you might be doing a pivot here as we look at this week ahead. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising signs. First things we have to talk about, Virgo, is that you see the energy of the south node in your sign. You are going through it right now. You started this in January 25. You complete this in July 26. You're releasing, surrendering, and letting go of your own self undoing, or your own worst habits, perhaps, who knows, but you're also reinventing yourself. You're also in a deeper surrender. You're also more porous and open to divine inspiration coming through as a kind of enlightenment vibe. I just handed my Virgo rising daughter The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. You might find yourself in this energy field that's already here, noticing that Mars will bend your south node as the week begins. You feel Sunday through to Wednesday, what's happening. You could be getting ready to release and surrender childhood baggage because the fourth house represents growing up. It represents your childhood. And the father figure is in your life growing up as well because the sun is here. So male figures from your childhood, father figures from your childhood, grandparents, I don't care, and releasing and letting go of baggage because Mars and the sun in the fourth house can be that energy. However, it is also possible that Mars is telling you it's time to move. And you have to release and surrender and let go of something in your life in order to affect a domestic change, a home change, a change of home. Or someone is leaving the home and you have to surrender to that as there's going to be a parting ways. Maybe a kid's leaving the home. Maybe you and your partner are separating and someone's leaving the home. I mean, you've got a lot of love from Lord Jupiter, and it means it's all going to work out, whatever this is. Jupiter is sextiling the south node in your sign, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising closer to 14 degrees, the more strongly you're going to feel it. It's that simple. There may be Monday through Wednesday a major confrontation or conflict with a significant person in your life connected to things going on in the home, especially if you live with them. This is going to be a very karmically important releasing, a destined shift in the relationship itself, because Mars in the fourth house brings domestic conflict. As the week progresses, because it will progress, Venus is going to come opposite Uranus. Now, don't forget, maybe around Monday, Tuesday, she's also bringing you some unexpected news. Look to those phone calls, text messages, and emails as she brings you some news from your third house. So maybe revealing something to you weren't clearly seeing. It could be around a sibling. It could be around your neighborhood situations, etc. But that's aside, the surprise she's going to deliver Friday through Sunday could look something like kaboom, unexpected international travel opportunity, unexpected change of neighborhood, unexpected headhunting, human resources, job change, unexpected situation regarding publishing, book publishing, social media, a viral hit, I don't know. Unexpected turning points regarding higher education and academic setting developments. And I could definitely see an unexpected travel opportunity coming to you Friday through to Sunday, international or domestic travel. Either one will do, most likely international, but either one will do. And it may involve a significant other as well, traveling with or for or because of a significant relationship partner in your life. Unexpected travel, maybe, let's say Thursday through to Sunday. All right. Ay, ay, ay. Guys. Ay, ay, ay. The ay, ay, ay is me losing my voice in the interior of an apartment on a glorious sunny day in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I am going to get out there and get my last day of sun. If you like this kind of content, if you like the fact that I exist on the universe, I'm here to tell you the sky stories, that I'm putting my heart and soul into my channel. If any of this appeals to you and so far you've been listening and you haven't ever hit my like button, subscribed or shared with someone else, would you consider doing that? And it really does help the channel grow. I'm becoming a behemoth. I'm becoming like a slow moving beast. I'm like, the bigger the channels get, sometimes the slower they begin to grow. And so if you don't mind giving me a little bump, we really, really appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate you guys. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Let's start with your story here. I need some water. First things first. One thing I want to mention about your Mars placement as he bends the node of fate Monday through to, let's say, Sunday, Monday through to Wednesday, Thursday, is travel. You may be traveling or you have an opportunity to travel, distant shore, far off land, foreign place. This could be just simple. But if you do travel this week ahead to those types of places, it's important. Why? Because it's going to connect you to deep karmic storylines and even a possibility over time for a relocation of your home connected to that travel. Doesn't mean you're going to move this week to another country or far off place or someplace you've traveled to means you're going to move there. But it sort of plants a destined turning point seed. Like I said in the beginning, this goes back to January 2007, February 1988. Some of you are old enough to sort of vibe out with those longer story narratives. bending the fated node thing in the 12th house, a sibling in a hospital setting, a friend, especially when you've had really young in life, in a hospital setting. There you go. Some options are there for you. You might want to make some decisions regarding ending or severing or cutting situations regarding neighbors and neighborhood, including a relocation, especially with Mars, of course, in a positive aspect to Jupiter. I mean, not Mars, the node. So it looks like you may change your neighborhood as well. You might be doing that change of neighborhood already. You plan it, but there's a decision-making thing. Mars is often like packing up. He's organizing in the 3rd house. He precedes the move to the 4th house. And just maybe there's a lot going on in your world around potential renting property, renting out a property, relocating a property, changing where you're going to live, connected to the word land and property and rental. Well, I would say that you could also pretty well end a relationship with a sibling if that sibling relationship is no longer useful, and it can be a karmic closure on a difficult sibling relationship coming through for some of you. Now, as we move forward and we look at the idea of the shock or surprise that Venus will operate under Friday through Sunday with Uranus, it's kind of like a financial surprise. It may have a connection to earnings, income, resources, debts, or credit cards or loans or investments or financing like mortgages and credit card monies or tax situations. And a surprise is here. Now, I don't like Venus in Scorpio because she's in her detriment and Mercury's there revealing something. So unexpected revelations on the financial front, but with a support structure from Jupiter that's flowing, it's going to benefit your career in the long run. Career and reputation benefits from some surprising financial developments coming through, let's say Thursday through to Sunday. Just give it lots of leeway, right? And that's the story. Let's see what happens. And let me know in the comments what did happen. I'd love to hear back from you guys. So much going on in the sky. It's really hard to pick and choose what to talk about. Thanks, Libra. Hey, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. This girl's going to get up and walk and talk. I hope you don't mind. I just cannot get comfortable. So I am somebody who has really loose SI joints. Okay. So if any physiotherapists are out there, let me know. That's a bathing suit under my dress. I need a little support on the old SI joint recovery program. And because of my like wobbly and unstable SI joints, I'm always dealing with issues when I sit too long and do my shit on YouTube. Okay. Let's just find a better position, put you on the sofa and stretch my legs. All right. So you guys are tipping over. All right. So yeah, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is for you a week ahead, where in the beginning, Mars is bending Sunday through to Wednesday, the node of fate. Yeah, like back in 88, right? 1988 and oh my God, let me get my cheat sheet. February of 88, January of 2007. What changed in your life? Because it's back. It's about money, earnings, resources. It's about your face. It's about your dietary style. It's about your voice. Major decisions, major turning points for Scorpio. It hooks you up to release, surrender, and let go. Things that may be very specifically connected to career earnings. This could also look like a change of job, a letting go of position at work. But you may also want to release something else. The South Node is in the house of social groups and friends, and maybe it's time to release a friend in harsh speech. I'm done with you. How dare you? You keep criticizing me. You're not a friend. So you could be karmically releasing a friendship that no longer works for you at a deeper level. You might be releasing a long-range goal or dream or vision you've had for your life, and you're retiring it out. And will be retired out because you're being more financially clear about what you need and want. You're motivated and desiring of certain financial outcomes in your life, and then you have to release something that may not be viable in terms of your long range career and money goals. Now, one thing about this energy is also connected to fertility and children. So maybe some financial situations regarding baby making, children, fertility, the children you already have, whatever, could also end up in the mix from the 5th house. As the week progresses, we're going to see, and here you are. What are you revealing? Mercury and Venus together Monday, Tuesday. Are you speaking some secret to a significant other, because as the week progresses, like Thursday through to Sunday, with a kind of like Saturday, Sunday epicenter, Venus is going to be opposite Uranus, and there could be a real kaboom, a really intense dialogue or conversation regarding the following: a significant long-term relationship partner and you having that conversation, or a legal agreement conversation that leads to a shocking, surprising change of outcome. Jupiter is in the house of justice and courts, and he's flowing to the nodes, so, and to the Mercury and Venus story, so, and Uranus. So there could be some unexpected positive legal agreements coming your way, contractually coming up as the second half of the week is going on, especially if you're looking for judges favoring you or courts favoring you, based on stuff that's already been in play for a few months. Mercury rules the house of inheritance. Jupiter's in the house of father figures. So there also could be a shocking, surprising bit of information of money coming in from father figures. Yes, like inheritances and stuff like that. And you may be disclosing the information, or it's being disclosed to you through, like, barristers and solicitors, letting you know that you're entitled to some money or something along those lines. All right. Best I can do is let you know that's the vibe. You might get information from a mother figure regarding this as well. So there's a little moon Pluto going on in this week as well. So I'll leave you at that. Let's see how it goes. This is not comfortable either. I don't know what I'm going to do. This girl's going to walk and talk. I'm going to find a nice high spot so that I'm not sitting down and I'm able to talk and stand. Let's find a high shelf somewhere. Certainly there's got to be one high shelf in this place where I could put you guys. Let's see. I don't want to lose the signal. I'm putting you way up high. Is that possible? No, that's way too high. Walking and talking. Let's just keep going. Lori's going to walk and talk. This is what happens, guys, when your SI joint's unstable. I've been doing way too much sitting lately in the last couple of weeks producing content. I'm going to set up a standing recording studio in my home when I get home. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Well, the first thing you're going to notice is this week ahead is going to activate you. You have the Sagittarius Mars placement bending the node of fate. You are bending it. You are making decisions and taking actions to change your destiny. You did this in January, late December of 2006, January of 2007. My Sagittarius ex-husband extracted himself legally from his marriage at that time. Not me, the one he was married to when we met. So what decisions are you making? Like similar magnitude, like maybe you did the same kind of powerful decisions in February of 1988, Sagittarius, because now you might be also doing those same decisions all over again. No problem. Go for it. However, whatever they're about, you are aiming your sword at the house of marriage. So again, decisions about long-term committed love and relationship are not surprising under this circumstance. You might also be, with the South Node bending, understanding that your reputation and your career are under a release and surrender. Now, the 10th house isn't just your career. It's like, I'm married, I'm widowed, I'm divorced. It's weddings and wakes. It's kind of like social standing. And there's a release of that visible standing as well. So sometimes, as I said, I gave you an example, 2007, my former husband ended his long-term marriage. So he doesn't mind if I talk about him. I've asked him. So there's an example. I didn't give his name and he didn't give his social insurance number. There's a thing going on this week ahead as well. Because of these decisions you're making, you can make changes in your home. You may move your home, sell a home, especially if you sell a property with Jupiter's North Node, and decisions around moving a home or selling a home or buying a home or separating assets connected to your home with a significant other are very much being woven into this week ahead. You might notice that there is a unexpected information disclosure in the 12th house of things that are hidden, including hidden enemies. Unfortunately, I don't like Venus here. A woman who does not really have your best interest at heart could be disclosing or shocking you with something to do with debts. For example, your significant other has racked up, Mercury rules your marriage house, like hundreds of thousands of dollars on the credit card. You're like, what? Look for unexpected disclosures around debts, indebtedness, marriage partners, business partners, legal contracts, women disclosing things who turn out, when you look at the story from a certain perspective, not to have at all been your friend, right? Like hidden enemies who were scorpionic, secretive, or deceptive women. Wouldn't surprise me. Sorry about that, Sag, for some of you. All right. And anything else? Some of you look like, the sky opens up some kind of possible change of home. It's going to, like a rental property, unexpected opportunity as well, coming through near the end of the week, Thursday through to Sunday, whether you're going to lease your property suddenly or find a home to lease. Those are exciting, unexpected, and surprising, but more positive aspects. And I guess some of you might unexpectedly find yourself in possession of a pet, or a pet that you have is unexpectedly ill and in the pet hospital. Yes, Thursday through to Sunday. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. Now you see that I'm sitting on a pillow on my knees in a Zen posture, trying to stabilize my SI joint. All right. If you're a Capricorn, you're going to talk about your week like this. Hey, Mars, what are you doing in my 12th house of foreign lands and foreign shores and past lives and karmic stuff and Akashic records and spiritual liberation all the way? You were here in January of 2007 and November of 2000 and February 1988. Let's compare notes. What happened back then? Potentially Mars here does like to travel abroad, and he may open up travel up to distant shores and far off places, opportunities for you coming through the beginning of this week, Monday through to Wednesday or Thursday. However, there's a South Node bending in the 9th house to release, surrender, and let go of the following themes: foreign lands, distant shores, far off places, connections to legal matters and court situations that are no longer tenable, closing out like court battles or lawsuits, letting go, surrendering, and releasing a foreigner, like a person who's not from your own country of birth, and letting it go, letting them go, letting something go. But coming off of a deep karmic axis of the 12th house energy and the 6th house energy. The South Node bending is in the house of the third marriage. If you're in a third marriage, there may be some turbulence in that third marriage at this time. So keep that in mind as well. One thing I want to mention about Mars in the 12th house, it is a house of hidden enemies. And of course, this means that you might come into contact with some aggression from people who don't really have your back. And it may be aggressive energy on a legal front or something along those lines. But the South Node bending is asking you to release and surrender something. So what is it? Ninth house is kind of funny. It's like, surrender your beliefs, surrender your religious ideologies, surrender something along those lines. Well, what about your week ahead as Venus is offering up a delightful surprise? Haha. She's going to be moving into the last degree of Scorpio. Now start off right away with Tuesday, okay? Let's go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Venus and Mercury could disclose information from a friend, a sibling older than you by one, from a situation of disclosure from just somebody in a friendship capacity that surprises you. This energy is building up, like you'll feel it like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday kind of thing. Then Venus finally reaches the opposition to Uranus. Now the upside is windfalls, some kind of financial influx, positive gains, like winning money. Because Uranus is on the wealth star in the house of good fortune, including gambling and speculating. Venus is in the house of windfalls. The only downside is Venus is out of dignity, but she is ruling Uranus as he could bring you an unexpected financial gain. Jupiter supports that. He's in the house of a significant other. Maybe you and a spouse or significant love person or friend could both be lucky or share money or share some luck or something like that. You might find yourself with a sibling one older coming into a surprise or a shock, or a sibling 3 older than you, and also a sibling 2 younger. So 2 younger, 3 older, 1 older, sibling shocks, sibling surprises. And because of Mars's placement, somebody may be in a hospital and there may be necessary travel to visit them. But if that happens, I'm likely to say it's sibling related more than anything. And that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am indeed one of you. What we have going on in the sky today or this week ahead. A nodal bending of Mars on the south node seen last in January of 2007 and late December 2006, January 2007. Okay. And February 14th of 1988. So you kind of felt the vibe back then, February of 88. Well, it looks to me like I'm one of you. It looks like we are letting some kind of, this is actions and decisions or changes or turning points connected to friends, benefactors, allies, career gains, and longer range goals, wishes, and dreams that you've held for your life that you've been pondering or cherishing or hoping to accomplish. And now you're beginning to sort of cut, sever, or redirect or redecide or change directions. Maybe the south node bending is around your finances, particularly money connected to royalty income, ad income, investments, taxes, tax structures, shared resources with a spouse. So, for example, in like December of 2006 and January 2007, what did I do? I want to give me as an example. I don't remember. I ended a relationship that was extremely toxic. It only lasted a year. Karmic. This is a deeply karmic house, the 8th house, right? And that relationship, although it was short-lived, I was in a shared resources mode. He was extremely wealthy and he was always offering to pay for everything, fly me around, buy my kid laptops and stuff. It was kind of like me being like captivated by someone who wanted to play the role of sugar daddy, which I've never had. And we never got there. It was only 10 months. And I departed from that relationship. I quit the relationship at the time of the last example of this I'm trying to share with you. So there's some major turning points about what you think you want versus what you're going to get. Okay. What you think you might want, what's tenable is no longer going to be so. This is a very good spirit, Mars. He's trying to bring something good to you. The sun is there with him, ruling the house of committed love. And so again, making major turning point decisions regarding letting go and releasing karmic circumstances connected to long-term and committed love would not be far outside the box for you guys this week. You'll feel this Sunday through to Wednesday. Also, we're going to see the energy of Mars making decisions around career gains in particular, and you might let go of certain financial mechanisms that work in favor of your success in your career to open up new possibilities, and particularly maybe even increasing a desire to earn money in new ways you have yet to test and try. Okay. Now, one thing I want to mention here is there's a surprise with lucky Venus in Scorpio in your 10th house with Mercury opposite Uranus. A shocking, surprising situation is seen in the public eye connected to your reputation or to your career path in the visible world. Because Uranus is electrifying it from the 4th house, you could go viral because Uranus represents viral content produced from home on something you create. This is Lori being hopeful for herself. On the other hand, because Jupiter's supporting from the house of work and livelihood and Artha, so there could be a nice little pop, but also Venus just opposite Uranus on her very own, an unexpected development that impacts your public reputation. Now, you might see some evidence for this on Monday, Tuesday when Mercury and Venus come together, but look for the big kahuna. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and there's some real, electrical storms going on, but I think they can be positive. Venus is telling Uranus what to do, right? Who knows? Maybe one of my videos where I predict King Charles stepping down or Biden passing soon. Maybe one of those, someone will replay it. Someone who has a big following, and maybe I'll get some more traction on my channel. You're likely with the 10th house storyline here, right? Mercury, Venus, to want to be successful in your career. Venus likes to be successful in the 10th house. Mercury can definitely bring some success as well, but I'm wondering if it has a little bit to do with business partnerships or agreements and or hiring employees or employment situations for your work. But if it's not, you could get a new job off of this, a new contract, a new agreement, and you could find new pathways to financial gain and earnings as you let go of old ones, and look for evidence of that really like lighting up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week ahead. Finally, not last, not least, best and always best, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. It looks to me like you got a story going on here where you are going to find yourself connected to a major decision or turning point around your career and reputation. Caveat, also around father and father figures in your life. South Node bending this week ahead. You could be letting go of a relationship connected to marriage and long-term love, especially if your partner is more of a parental or fatherly energy in your life. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Sometimes we get partners who play parental roles, right? So you might be releasing that kind of connection, releasing the relationship itself, for all I know. But if you don't do that, Pisces, then you're also looking at the possibility of a major decision point regarding changing the direction of your career, especially if it's in relationship to how you serve an audience, a fan club, a marketplace. And there's now a need to pivot. Go back to January of 2007, February of 1988. What pivots did you make back then? South Node in your 7th house could be giving your main squeeze in love, health challenges and difficulties in their life. And now there may be a pivotal turning point in that situation. You're not in charge of it. Life is pivoting the turning point for you and for them. Mercury, who rules your marriage house, is with Venus in the house of courts and legal matters. For some of you, visas and passports, foreign land and travel, there could be some major turning points and news and information coming at you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from Mercury-Venus conjunction. Regarding your legal status or visas or travel in relationship to your significant relationship partner, if you have one, there's a lot of love from Jupiter trying to support everything that's happening here, trying to bring you more joy, more fun, more play, more pleasure, trying to bring you more like creative impulse and even a positive and fruitful sexual and romantic love. That's Jupiter's gig in your 5th house. But Venus and Mercury, as they're trying to propel a story forward in the second half of this week through to Sunday, can give you an opportunity for romantic travel or travel for romance or leisure or travel connected to destined and fated romance stories. And all Mars might be doing is making, very publicly decisive announcements about what's going on, for all I know. Venus is in a trine to you, but she's also in her detriment. So love in a foreign land, or finding love in a foreign land, or traveling to a foreign land for love, or traveling for love are themes that I'm seeing this week, especially Thursday through to the weekend. But Mars is ruling that Venus, and he's in an angular placement. And it's like a bit of a make or break. I'd say, especially Pisces, sun, moon, and rising closer to 14 degrees, you might be coming into a critical make or break legal or romantic story that's unfolding in the second half of this week. Now, I am finito and I'm sitting on the floor. Now, I could have sat on the floor for this whole thing because sitting on the floor is more comfortable than sitting on a chair. So any of my physiotherapist type clients, I have unstable SI joints, too many years of high stretch yoga. I'm autistic and I got that super flexibility, right? Followed by the sciatic nerve going under the psoas muscle. And that whole thing gets completely screwed up quite often. And because I recorded 12 videos times 2-point-something hours, I was sitting down for 6 to 7 hours a day for 6 days in a row to create that content for you guys, that $44 bundle. And then the problem started. If you have any suggestions for me, any help, I read my comments and I would definitely appreciate that. If you want to join my membership, I've opened up a membership. You get priority responses to your comments from me, and you get live streams and members only content on my channel. Check out my join button below. I don't have an outro for you guys because I'm going off to the swimming pool. Have a really wonderful day, everyone. And I'll see you on Thursday's drop. We'll be talking about that Gemini moon coming up on December the 6th.